This is lecture 1.12 for Math 980, and in this section we talk about percentages. So if you feel like you already understand percentages pretty well and that you can answer most of the questions on your own, don't feel as though you need to change your technique. But for the rest of you, I like to teach using the translation technique. So if I had a question that said, what is 10% of 40? These words can be directly translated into a mathematical equation. So the word what translates to x, is translates to equals, 10 of course is 10. Percent means divided by 100. So you could write it this way, divided by 100, or you could go ahead and do that division. 10 divided by 100 would be 0.10. So it's the same thing as scooting your decimal 2 places to the left. But this would translate that 10%. The word of is multiplication, and then 40. So now we have a simple math equation that you could solve using your calculator. So x equals 0.10 times 40. So your answer would just be 4. All right, so what I want to do is go through a couple of these questions on the homework. So question number 1 says, for a tax rate of 7.25%, find the amount of tax that will be paid on an automobile tune-up costing $88. So what's helpful is for you to kind of give the quick version of what they're asking for. They want me to find the tax rate, or they want me to find the tax on $88 if the rate is 7.25%. So the real question is, what is 7.25% of $88? And this I can translate. X equals, this would be 7.25 over 100, which would scoot the decimal 2 places to the left, so 0.0725 times 88. And that's the problem. So if you type that into your calculator, you will get 6.38. So $6.38 is the tax. And then the next part of the question, they say, find the total price of the tune-up with tax. So the tune-up was $88, and the tax is $6.38. So the total would be $94.38. So that would be the price of the tune-up plus the tax. So I want to show you something else. For this question, you would not have wanted to use it because they wanted you to first give them the tax and then the total tax and price. But the very next question, they're going to ask you something about a multiplier. So what's interesting is here we took our tax rate, 0.0725, and multiplied it by the price. Had we instead taken our tax rate, 0.0725, and put a 1 in front of it, 1 times 88 would give me my 88. The 0.0725 times 88 would give me my 638. Total is 94.38. So in one step, if I had put the 1 in front of it, one step would have given me 1.0725 times 88, the total price and tax. So the difference is here I don't have the 1 in front, but then I need to take my price and add to the tax to get my answer. Here I do have the 1 in front, and I get my total tune-up and tax all together. We call this a multiplier. So what was the multiplier to get straight to the total answer? It was 1.0725. So let's look at question number 2, where they talk about this multiplier. Question number 2 says, for a percentage increase of 22%, state the multiplier. So if I'm going to increase by 22%, then that means I need my original price, which is 1 times that price, in addition to my increase of 22%. So my multiplier would be 1.22. Had they asked the question on this one, my multiplier would have been 1.075. So you convert this to a decimal by shifting 2 to the left and then tack your 1 in front of that. Okay, let's look at question 3. They want a multiplier of 0.87 corresponds to a percentage increase or decrease of what percent? So if I'm going to multiply something by 0.87, let's see what happens. Let's pretend I had $100 and I multiply it by 0.87, then I would be left with $87. So what happened was my original 100 decreased because I multiplied it by something smaller than 1. So I'm taking a fraction of that $100. So it's a decrease of how much? Well, I lost 13. In this case, it would be 13%. So 100 minus 87 is 13. So 13%. So if my multiplier is less than 1, then that's a decrease. If it's greater than 1, then that would be an increase. I want to jump to question number 6. And let me clear this. Okay, number 6 says, a 70% off sale begins today at Wanda's Women's Wear. What is the sale price of women's wool coats normally priced at $240? So if I have a coat that's normally priced at $240 and it's 70% off, there are 2 ways I can do this. I can do it the long way, which is what is 70% of $240? So 70% of 240 would give me some number, 168. So that means they're taking $168 off the coat. So 240 minus 168 means the coat is $72. Or the short way is, if they're taking 70% off, that means I'm only paying 30%. So my multiplier is 0.3 times 240, and my answer would be $72. So this only takes 1 step, whereas this took 2 steps. Let's look at question number 7. It says college students are offered an 8% discount, 8% discount on a textbook that sells for $30.50 for this textbook. If the sales tax is 8%, find the cost of the textbook including the sales tax. So this is a little bit tricky. People think that if I'm discounting 8% and then I'm adding 8%, that those cancel out. But they don't, because the discount is 8% of this amount. The tax is 8% of whatever this minus the discount was. So these two numbers end up being a little bit different. So how would I do that? I could go, if I'm getting a discount of 8%, which is 0.08, that means I'm only paying 0.92. I'm paying 92% of this. So 92% times this price gives me 2806. So my multiplier was 0.92. I'm paying 92% of this textbook price. So this is my new price. Then I'm going to pay tax on that. So my multiplier would be, I'm going to pay the entire price, which is 1, plus I'm going to pay the tax, which is 0.08, and multiply that by this current price. And that will give me my answer, which is 3030. So notice that it wasn't quite the same as what we started with. So I use a multiplier of 0.92 to decrease the price because of the discount, and then I use a multiplier of 1.08 to increase my price, which is because we're tacking on the tax. Okay, let's look at question number 9. . And 9 says the sales tax is $35.85 on the purchase of a dining room set for $717. Find the sales tax rate. So what they're asking for is the percentage for the sales tax. So again, there are two ways of doing this. I can translate this. What they're really asking me is $35.85 is what percent of $717? So this is the question. I could translate 35.85 equals X percent is over 100 of is times 717. And then I could solve this equation by multiplying both sides by 100, which will cancel my fraction there. So I get 35.85 with no decimal because I multiplied by 100 equals X times 717. And then my last step, I can divide both sides by 717. And I get X equals 5. So my tax rate was 5%. The other thing you could do is, when they're asking, you know, what percent of 717 is 35.85, think of it like you would, you know, an assignment, like a test. If you got, you know, 40 points out of 60, you immediately go 40 divided by 60 to get your percentage. So you could have done the same thing here. So 35.85 out of 717, and put that into your calculator. And then you would need to, it would be a decimal, and you need to convert it back to the percent. All right, the last question that I want to talk about, it actually applies to questions 11 and 12. And this is where they talk about a percent increase or a percent decrease. So they use these two words together. What is the percent increase or percent decrease? So there's actually a formula for these, and the formula is the difference divided by the original. So original means which one happened first in time. So I'm actually going to do problem number 12. So problem number 12 for me says a person earns, oh wait, hold on. Was that right? No, let me back it up. This does not, let me do problem number 11. I apologize. 11 says the price per share of a certain stock fell from $32.77. So it started at $32.77 and it fell to $31. It says find the percent of decrease in price. So this is my difference over my original, which is what it started with, is $32.77. And so if you figure this up, you get $1.77 over $32.77, which is going to end up being 5.4%. Okay, and I believe I misspoke earlier. Oh, so 10 and 11, I'm sorry, 10 and 11 were the percent increase and decrease. 12 is more similar to the first part of the homework. So good luck with that, and feel free to contact me if you need some help or have any questions. Thanks.